The first days of December arrived wrapped in an unusual silence. It was not the silence of winter or the pause before Christmas lights. It was a deeper stillness, something that seemed to breathe behind the air itself, as if heaven were holding its breath. And that was when the first sign appeared, a subtle vibration in the sky, a glow that seemed to come not from the sun, but from something older. Those who were awake in that dawn felt it, a whisper crossing their hearts like a forgotten melody. Few understood it, fewer still listened, but the message had begun. For the first time in centuries, the messenger of heaven, Saint Gabriel the Archangel, was near again, not with trumpets of war, but with the sound of awakening. He came not to destroy, but to remind humanity of what it has forgotten, that the light of the world is fading, and that the time of decision is now. Many will hear these words and scroll away. Many will doubt, but to those who remain, something inside will stir. Because this message is not just information, it is recognition. It is the echo of something your soul already knows. In that first dawn of December, Gabriel's presence was like a breeze made of light. He spoke not to the eyes, but to the heart. And he said, "The last light will not come suddenly. It will fade through the forgetfulness of men. Yet those who listen will see its reflection in the smallest acts of faith. Heaven's silence has never meant absence. It is the preparation of the voice that comes next. There are no coincidences in these days. The sudden dreams that feel like memories, the lights that flicker when you pray, the inner urgency that keeps you awake, all of it is part of the call. Because when Gabriel speaks, he doesn't speak only to prophets. He speaks through signs, through sound, through everything that still carries the vibration of heaven. And if you're listening right now, you're not here by accident. Maybe you found this video while searching for something else. Maybe you're watching late at night, wondering why these words feel personal. It's because they are. They're meant for you. This message reached you because heaven allowed it. And if you feel that quiet pressure in your chest right now, that is not fear, that is recognition. Gabriel's light moves quietly, like a wave that doesn't crush but cleanses. He calls you to remember who you are, and to help others awaken before the last light fades. This is why this message must be shared, urgently, endlessly. If your heart beats faster right now, don't ignore it. Share this message before the silence returns. There are souls waiting for one small light, and it might come through you. When you share light, heaven sees it. When you speak truth, even in comments, heaven listens. That's why Gabriel's call includes this plea. Leave a sign. Speak your faith. Write in the comments that you are awake, that you are listening. Every name written in faith becomes a spark heaven can find. He also said something that night, something few will believe. That between the 1st and the 8th day of December, a spiritual door will open, not in the sky, but inside the human heart. Those who pray, even for a moment, will feel an unfamiliar warmth. It will be the angel's presence, passing near. And he asked for something more. Let them not remain silent, for each word of faith shared multiplies the light of the world. So yes, this is a message, but it is also a mission. If you feel it, act. Subscribe not as a gesture to a channel, but as a sign that you choose to remain awake. Do it now, while you still feel the call. Because as Gabriel said, those who respond when the light is soft will stand firm when the darkness grows. The first trumpet does not sound in the air, it sounds in the soul. And maybe right now you are hearing yours. The second night of December fell heavier than the first. The air itself felt charged, as if something immense were waiting to unfold. Those who looked at the sky that evening said the stars seemed closer, trembling like eyes trying not to cry. And that was when the second sign appeared, not in the heavens, but on the earth. It began with the silence of places that are never silent, cities. For a brief instant, even the machines seemed to pause. People felt it, that strange, sacred pause that no one could explain. It was as if heaven had leaned over creation and whispered a single word, and everything had stopped to hear it. Gabriel was near again, but this time his voice carried a weight of sorrow. He did not come wrapped in light, but in the quiet glow of compassion, like a doctor approaching a wounded patient. And in that silence he spoke again, not to the crowds, but to the few hearts still capable of listening. He said, "The world is louder than ever, yet the soul has never been more silent. In the noise of men, the whisper of heaven is lost. But I come again to remind you that even a single whisper can change the course of darkness." Each word felt alive, like fire written on invisible paper. Those who prayed that night reported feeling warmth around them, a pulse of light within their hands. And some said they saw in their dreams a figure of immense peace, not with wings of gold, but of transparent flame. Saint Gabriel, the messenger of the Most High. He carried no sword this time, only a trumpet made of silence. Because what is coming is not destruction, it is awakening. Heaven does not wish to punish, but to awaken those who have fallen asleep inside comfort and illusion. And the Archangel's mission now is to gather those who still hear before the world grows too cold to listen. That's why you're hearing this now. That's why this message found you. Heaven doesn't use chance, only purpose. If you're listening, you've been called. Yes, you. And I know your heart might say, "But I am not worthy." Yet Gabriel himself once said, "The smallest light still breaks the deepest shadow." So listen closely. There is something heaven is asking from you tonight, something simple but urgent. Don't keep this message hidden. Share it, as if it were the last chance for someone to awaken before it's too late. Because maybe, for someone out there, it truly is. This is not about algorithms or views. This is about souls. The Archangel's message must move like a wave from one light to another until the whole sky glows again. So yes, share this now. Let it travel through the darkness and reach the one who is praying for a sign tonight. Let them know heaven has spoken again. When Gabriel appeared, he did not speak to power, but to purity. He said that the new prophets would not wear robes or stand on altars. They would speak from their rooms, through light and sound, across the invisible air. He said, "The messengers of this generation will hold no crowns but voices. They will speak not from pulpits, but from screens, and their light will reach nations faster than fire." That was not coincidence. That was prophecy. If you are watching this right now, you are witnessing that prophecy unfold. Heaven's messages now move through technology, through words and videos and images, because that's where the hearts are gathered. That's where the angels must go to find them. So if your soul trembles as you hear this, write it below. Say something like, "I am awake, Gabriel. I am listening." Every comment becomes a candle in this vast digital night, and heaven counts each one. Gabriel's next words carried a strange gravity. Between the 2nd and the 5th dawn of this month, light will reveal itself in an unexpected way. Do not look for it in the sky, but in your reflection, for the eyes that weep for the world are already the mirrors of heaven. The prophecy was never meant to scare. It was meant to prepare, because what is approaching is not the end. It is the test before the renewal. He said that before the final light, there will be 3 awakenings. The awakening of the Spirit, when people begin to feel that something invisible surrounds them. The awakening of the conscience, when hidden truths begin to rise like smoke. The awakening of the fire, when those who carry faith will feel the urgency to act, to protect, to pray, to share. And you, by watching, are part of that fire. Don't underestimate your flame. Even now, as you listen, Gabriel's light moves through you. Every emotion, every tear, every breath that carries truth, all of it feeds the network of light that heaven is building through those who still believe. And this message, it is part of that construction. That is why he insists, Do not stay silent. Speak even if your voice shakes, for the words of faith are stronger than the weapons of fear. So tonight, before you sleep, whisper his name. Say it not as a request, but as a remembrance. Gabriel, I am listening. And when you wake, share this with someone you love, even if they won't understand right away, because Gabriel's promise was clear. The ones who carry the message will be protected when the shadow passes. You're not spreading content, you're spreading protection. You're expanding the shield of light over those who need it most. When dawn came again on December 3rd, the sky seemed wounded. Streaks of red cut across a horizon too quiet for morning. Some said it was just the winter light, but others felt something else, something ancient. The kind of stillness that comes before a revelation. And for those who listened, the message deepened. The Archangel's voice was softer this time, almost human. He said, "Many will see the signs and call them coincidence. But coincidence is only the name given by those who have forgotten the rhythm of heaven. Heaven's rhythm. It moves through time like a melody forgotten by the world, and yet the soul still remembers the tune. That is why certain days, like these early days of December, feel different, because they are. Every December begins as an echo of the first Annunciation. The month itself carries memory. The same Archangel who once descended to Mary now descends again to remind the world that mercy still exists, but not for long. It is mercy's last season. Gabriel's wings touched the winds of the world that morning. And wherever faith existed, even in silence, light flickered. Somewhere, a candle reignited. Somewhere else, an old man who had stopped praying felt the sudden urge to whisper again. In another part of the world, a child woke up from a dream saying, "I saw an angel." Heaven's work never stops. It only changes its messengers. That is why you, right now, matter. Yes, you who are reading or listening. You might think your small gesture doesn't matter, but Gabriel's light multiplies through the smallest acts. Even a comment written in faith becomes a prayer. Even a click of love becomes a seed in heaven's field. That's why I ask you, not as a creator but as a believer, write something below. Say you believe, say you are awake, say you're waiting for the light. Because that small act joins heaven's rhythm. It's how the angels find those who are still alive inside. The Archangel continued, "When the third dawn ends, a veil will lift. It will not be seen with the eyes, but felt in the soul. And many will begin to dream of things that are yet to come. Do not fear those dreams. They are the invitations of heaven. Heaven invites, never forces. That's why its signs are subtle. Light reflections, forgotten warmth, small coincidences that feel too personal to ignore. That's how Gabriel works. He enters through what looks like chance, but is, in truth, destiny disguised. By December 4th, something began to stir across the world. Not visible, not measurable, but spiritual. The prayers of thousands began to align, like lights forming a constellation unseen by the human eye. And in that constellation, the messenger's wings moved once more. He said, "Before the final light, the world will pass through 3 veils, confusion, revelation, and choice. The first is already here. And indeed, confusion reigns. Nations trembling, families divided, hearts weary of hope. But Gabriel's message carried a strange peace, a whisper that seemed to say, "Do not fear the shaking, it is the sound of awakening." If you can feel that, even faintly, then you are part of the remnant, the small group chosen not for perfection, but for persistence. Because heaven doesn't need many, it only needs the faithful few who refuse to let the light die. So again, the call echoes. Share this message, not for numbers, but for names. Each person who receives it becomes another point of light, and the more light the earth holds, the less power the shadow gains. That is the true spiritual battle. Not angels with swords, but souls with faith. Gabriel spoke once more that night, and his words were written in silence. When the fifth dawn arrives, look not to the sky but to the hearts. For heaven will speak through the humble, through the broken, through those who still believe that love can heal what the world has wounded. His message is for those who have cried alone, for those who have prayed without answers, for those who think heaven forgot them. He says, heaven never forgets, it only waits for the right moment to speak again. And that moment is now. Every December carries a promise of rebirth, but this one carries also a warning. The light of mercy is thinning. The trumpet of awakening is already sounding, softly, through voices like this one, through people like you. You are hearing because you were meant to, and what you do after hearing will define how the light continues. Don't just listen, move, speak, share, comment, pray. Each of those actions builds the invisible bridge between heaven and earth. Each of them multiplies the light that Gabriel brings. He said finally, when the world grows cold, the warmest fire will be found not in cities, but in hearts united by faith. So find one another, call to one another. Let your faith echo across the silence. And that is what we are doing here, building an echo across the silence, one heart, one light, one message at a time. If this reached you, it's not chance. It's your invitation. It's your part in heaven's prophecy. Like this message, if you feel the pull of it, not for numbers, but as a way of saying, I am here, because every act of faith, even the smallest, becomes a star in Gabriel's constellation. As December continues, the air will change again. And when it does, remember these words. Between light and shadow, the choice is made. You've already felt it. Now you must act. The fifth day of December dawned heavy with mist, as if heaven had wrapped the world in a veil of breath. The streets were quieter, though no one could say why. Even the wind seemed to hesitate. It was the calm of something waiting. The pause before the next message. And then, in the heart of that quiet, it came again, the pulse of light. Soft at first, like the echo of a forgotten bell, it spread through those who were awake. No thunder, no flame, only a presence, gentle yet undeniable. Saint Gabriel had returned. He did not appear in visions or statues, he appeared in awareness. He spoke through thoughts that were not ours, through warmth that seemed to come from nowhere, through sudden clarity in the middle of confusion. Heaven's way of speaking is not loud, it is luminous, and those who listen feel it rather than hear it. This time Gabriel's message began with a question. What have you done with the light you were given? The words struck deep. They were not accusation, they were invitation. An invitation to remember. He said, each heart was created to hold a spark of the divine, but the world taught you to trade your light for comfort. I am sent to awaken what you have forgotten, the part of you that can still recognize heaven. Heaven is not far, it's just forgotten. Every act of love, every moment of forgiveness, every tear shed for others is a portal where light enters the world again. And Gabriel reminded us that in these days, these first days of December, those portals are wide open. That is why he said, when you speak words of hope, heaven echoes them. When you write words of faith, the angels see them as light. So if you have felt powerless, this is your sign that you are not. Your voice matters. Your comment, your prayer, your decision to share this message, all of it feeds the same light Gabriel carries. Heaven doesn't need many voices, it needs consistent ones. Right below, say you believe, say you choose light, say you're listening. These aren't just words on a screen, they are embers in the night. Heaven gathers them. The Archangel then spoke of the sign of the final light. Not a single event, not a catastrophe, but a revelation hidden inside ordinary days. He said, the sign will not arrive from the sky, but from within, when humanity begins to see light, even in what was once called darkness. That's when the final light begins to awaken, when people start recognizing heaven in the smallest details. A child's laugh, a candle flickering against the wind, a stranger's kindness when hope seemed gone. These are the first rays of the final dawn. But Gabriel warned that before that light expands, there will be resistance. The closer the light comes, the louder the shadows scream. That's why confusion rises, why division grows. It is not the end of the world, it is the war before renewal. And you, listener, are part of that battle, not by fighting, but by refusing to extinguish your flame. He said, "Do not look for miracles outside. Be the miracle where you are. Do not wait for a sign in the sky. Become the sign others see." The world will not change by argument, but by radiance. When your light touches another, heaven expands. That is the mystery of this December, the month when the invisible war for light intensifies. If you feel this truth, don't keep it silent. Share it now. Every share is another trumpet sounding across the digital heavens. Every view is a doorway where the Archangel's message passes. Heaven is counting not numbers, but awakenings. Gabriel's next words carried hope deeper than fear could ever reach. The light will not be defeated. It only waits for hearts to open. When the world trembles, remember, it is the heart of heaven beating through creation. He asked for something more personal too, something only those who truly listen will do. He said, "Before the seventh dawn, take a moment alone. Whisper the names of those you love, even those you have lost. Say, 'Let light find them,' and it will. Because love spoken aloud becomes a bridge. Even the departed feel it. Even the wounded souls in silence feel it. This is how heaven heals through you. It is not grand gestures, it is simple faith. And if you are reading or hearing this now, you were chosen for that faith. So please, if this message touches you, don't just pass it by. Stop for 1 second. Click that heart, that like, that small sign of "I am here," because each act of light is a ripple in eternity. You might think it's nothing, but heaven sees every motion made in truth. Somewhere, someone is about to give up tonight. And maybe this message, through your act of sharing, will reach them. Maybe they'll find the strength to pray again because of you. And that means you've already become part of the prophecy. That's the secret. The prophecy is not only happening to the world, it's happening through those who carry light. And Saint Gabriel came to remind us that this December is not just a month, it is a mirror. Whatever light you give will return multiplied. The angel's final words of that night echoed in my mind like a song I didn't know I remembered. When the final light appears, it will not blind, it will reveal. And those who lived by truth will see their reflection in the eyes of God. Heaven's prophecy is not doom, it is disclosure, the unveiling of what has always been. But to stand in that light, we must already be glowing within. So if your heart beats faster now, don't be afraid. That is heaven touching you. Don't let the moment fade. Subscribe, stay, listen. Not for numbers, but for alignment, for belonging, for readiness, because this December is not ordinary, and neither are you. The 6th dawn of December came with a sky that felt too wide, too bright, as though the horizon itself had been stretched open by invisible hands. People woke restless, sensing something without knowing why. Birds circled longer than usual. Dogs barked at nothing. Even the air seemed charged with an electric whisper. Those who were listening remembered Gabriel's words. Before the 7th dawn, light will call to light. And so, as the day unfolded, small wonders began to appear. Not grand miracles, but delicate signs only the awake could notice. A candle that refused to go out. A cloud shaped like wings above a hospital window. A sudden fragrance of lilies where there were none. Heaven speaks softly because truth needs silence to be heard. That evening, as shadows lengthened, a voice passed again through the stillness of the world, not through thunder or fire, but through thought, clear, intimate, undeniable. You who carry light, do not hide it any longer. The world trembles not because it is ending, but because it is remembering. It was Gabriel, the messenger of the Most High, the same voice that once told a young woman she would bear the light of the world, now whispered again to a humanity drowning in noise. He spoke of remembrance. He said that long before fear ruled the earth, creation sang with one heartbeat, the rhythm of heaven. Every soul was part of that rhythm, but pride silenced the song, and the world forgot its own melody. Now the Archangel's mission was to make us remember. The final light, he said, will not descend. It will rise. It will come from within those who choose truth over fear, mercy over pride. And as these words spread like wind across souls, a strange peace filled the night. Even those far from faith felt it, a pause in their anxiety, a warmth in their chest, a tear they could not explain. If you have ever felt that warmth while listening, don't ignore it. That is the angel passing near you. He notices you. He knows your weariness, your prayers whispered into darkness. And now, through this message, he asks for something simple but urgent. Do not stay silent. Speak light. Write light. Leave your sign below, a word, a flame, a yes. Because when you write in faith, heaven recognizes your voice. It becomes easier for the angels to find you when the world shakes again. That is why I'm asking, with Gabriel's urgency, comment now. Not to flatter a video, but to anchor your faith into the ether. Every name written here becomes a spark, recorded in heaven's book of remembrance. As December's nights grew colder, the Archangel's light moved closer. Dreams grew vivid. Old wounds resurfaced for healing. People began to see patterns in what used to feel random. Numbers repeating, songs appearing at the right moment, memories turning into messages. These were not coincidences. Gabriel said they are breadcrumbs of grace, signals left by heaven to guide the faithful back to awareness. On December 7th, the veil thinned even more. Those who woke before dawn felt the air shimmer like glass. Some heard music with no source. Others felt hands of light touch their shoulders. It was not imagination. It was proximity. Heaven was closer than it had been in centuries. This is the moment, Gabriel said, when mercy and warning walk side by side. Tell them not to fear the trembling of the earth, nor the roaring of the nations. Fear only the silence of hearts that no longer believe. And then he said something that pierced through every defense. The final light will test the faithful not with darkness, but with abundance. When everything seems comfortable again, that is when vigilance must awaken. Heaven's prophecies are never about destruction. They are about preparation. Gabriel's tone was not of doom, but of discipline, a reminder that comfort can be as dangerous as despair. If you feel the truth in these words, pause now. Let your heart answer with action. Share this message before you forget. Send it to one person who needs hope tonight. That simple act may be the bridge between their despair and heaven's reminder, because that's how the prophecy unfolds, not through thunder, but through people, through you. As night deepened, the Archangel's presence lingered over the earth like a guardian watching a sleeping child. He whispered once more, "Those who carry faith into the next dawn will see what others cannot." Between the 7th and the 8th dawn, the sign of light will appear, not to the eyes, but to the heart. Then the sky shimmered faintly, not enough to frighten, just enough to mark. A promise suspended in the dark. So hold on. The 7th dawn is near, and heaven is watching who stays awake. Before you leave this space, subscribe, not as routine, but as commitment. It means, I will stay awake. Let heaven see your yes. Let Gabriel recognize you among the countless souls he guards. This is how we build the circle of light before the final dawn. The next message will come soon. Be ready. Keep the flame alive. The 6th dawn of December came with a sky that felt too wide, too bright, as though the horizon itself had been stretched open by invisible hands. People woke restless, sensing something without knowing why. Birds circled longer than usual. Dogs barked at nothing. Even the air seemed charged with an electric whisper. Those who were listening remembered Gabriel's words. Before the seventh dawn, light will call to light. And so, as the day unfolded, small wonders began to appear. Not grand miracles, but delicate signs only the awake could notice. A candle that refused to go out, a cloud shaped like wings above a hospital window, a sudden fragrance of lilies where there were none. Heaven speaks softly, because truth needs silence to be heard. That evening, as shadows lengthened, a voice passed again through the stillness of the world, not through thunder or fire, but through thought, clear, intimate, undeniable. You who carry light, do not hide it any longer. The world trembles not because it is ending, but because it is remembering. It was Gabriel, the messenger of the Most High. The same voice that once told a young woman she would bear the light of the world now whispered again to a humanity drowning in noise. He spoke of remembrance. He said that long before fear ruled the earth, creation sang with one heartbeat, the rhythm of heaven. Every soul was part of that rhythm. But pride silenced the song, and the world forgot its own melody. Now the Archangel's mission was to make us remember. The final light, he said, will not descend, it will rise. It will come from within those who choose truth over fear, mercy over pride. Adi, as these words spread like wind across souls, a strange peace filled the night. Even those far from faith felt it. A pause in their anxiety, a warmth in their chest, a tear they could not explain. If you have ever felt that warmth while listening, don't ignore it. That is the angel passing near you. He notices you. He knows your weariness, your prayers whispered into darkness. And now, through this message, he asks for something simple but urgent. Do not stay silent. Speak light. Write light. Leave your sign below, a word, a flame, a yes. Because when you write in faith, heaven recognizes your voice. It becomes easier for the angels to find you when the world shakes again. That is why I'm asking, with Gabriel's urgency, comment now. Not to flatter a video, but to anchor your faith into the ether. Every name written here becomes a spark, recorded in heaven's book of remembrance. As December's nights grew colder, the Archangel's light moved closer. Dreams grew vivid. Old wounds resurfaced for healing. People began to see patterns in what used to feel random. Numbers repeating, songs appearing at the right moment, memories turning into messages. These were not coincidences. Gabriel said they are breadcrumbs of grace, signals left by heaven to guide the faithful back to awareness. On December 7th, the veil thinned even more. Those who woke before dawn felt the air shimmer like glass. Some heard music with no source. Others felt hands of light touch their shoulders. It was not imagination. It was proximity. Heaven was closer than it had been in centuries. This is the moment, Gabriel said, when mercy and warning walk side by side. Tell them not to fear the trembling of the earth, nor the roaring of the nations. Fear only the silence of hearts that no longer believe. And then he said something that pierced through every defense. The final light will test the faithful not with darkness, but with abundance. When everything seems comfortable again, that is when vigilance must awaken. Heaven's prophecies are never about destruction. They are about preparation. Gabriel's tone was not of doom, but of discipline, a reminder that comfort can be as dangerous as despair. If you feel the truth in these words, pause now. Let your heart answer with action. Share this message before you forget. Send it to one person who needs hope tonight. That simple act may be the bridge between their despair and heaven's reminder, because that's how the prophecy unfolds, not through thunder, but through people, through you. As night deepened, the Archangel's presence lingered over the earth like a guardian watching a sleeping child. He whispered once more, "Those who carry faith into the next dawn will see what others cannot." Between the seventh and the eighth dawn, the sign of light will appear, not to the eyes but to the heart. Then the sky shimmered faintly, not enough to frighten, just enough to mark. A promise suspended in the dark. So hold on. The seventh dawn is near, and heaven is watching who stays awake. Before you leave this space, subscribe, not as routine, but as commitment. It means, I will stay awake. Let heaven see your yes. Let Gabriel recognize you among the countless souls he guards. This is how we build the circle of light before the final dawn. The next message will come soon. Be ready. Keep the flame alive. The seventh dawn came with an unearthly quiet, as if the entire planet had taken one deep breath and forgot to release it. Even the winds seemed to stop mid-air, suspended between movement and meaning. It was December 7th, turning into December 8th, the bridge between the old light and the new one. And in that fragile hour before sunrise, heaven stirred again. People across the world would later describe it differently. A sudden calm, a shimmer in the sky, the sound of distant bells with no visible source. But the truth was the same. Saint Gabriel had opened the final gate of light. It was not a moment of spectacle, no fire, no thunder. It was a whisper that filled the bones of those awake enough to feel it. Heaven had arrived quietly, like a heartbeat remembering how to love. Gabriel's voice, soft yet immeasurable, crossed the spaces between souls. He did not speak to the ears, but directly to the spirit. This is the hour when light chooses its dwelling. The hearts that remain open will glow without reason. The ones that resist will grow heavy with shadows. At that instant, people who had been restless all night suddenly felt warmth. Mothers who had cried for their children felt peace. Old men saw faces of the ones they missed. And in rooms where loneliness had lingered too long, the air shimmered like a silent hymn. It was the sign, not outside, but within. Gabriel's message unfolded like light on water. Do not search for miracles in the sky. Look into the faces of those who forgive, into the tears of those who love despite the silence, into your own heart that still believes. That is where heaven has chosen to dwell. Heaven's final warning was not a threat. It was an invitation, an appeal to remember that mercy is the last miracle before renewal. In that sacred dawn, something unseen passed over the earth, not death, not doom, but awakening. And many who had wandered in doubt felt clarity like a door opening inside them. They remembered the light they once carried as children, the trust they lost, the quiet faith they had buried beneath fear. Gabriel said, "The child within you is the first witness of heaven. Protect it, listen to it, let it believe again." The seventh dawn was not meant to be observed. It was meant to be felt. And those who felt it would never be the same again. If your heart trembles while reading this, it means you have felt it too. You are not imagining it. You are remembering. Heaven leaves fingerprints in the soul, not in the sky. So I ask you now, as Gabriel asked me, do not let the message die inside you. Speak it, write it, share it. Leave a sign below, a candle of words. Write, "I felt the light." Because every declaration becomes a beacon that the angels can follow to find you again when the world grows dim. Gabriel's presence lingered through the morning. He watched as cities awoke, unaware that they had been visited by mercy itself. He watched as people hurried to work, missing the glow still clinging to their windows. And he whispered again, this time almost sadly, "Humanity rushes past the divine, yet heaven still waits at their door." And if only the world knew how near it came to grace that morning. But for those who heard, even faintly, everything changed. The world seemed sharper, yet softer, colors more alive, time slower, but deeper. Faith was no longer an idea, it was the air itself. You might wonder why you're here, why this found you today, why your eyes haven't left the screen. It's because heaven decided to speak through you next. Yes, you. The messenger is no longer one angel. It is many souls awakened by his voice. That's the real prophecy. So do not remain silent. Heaven counts on the small voices to carry the great ones. That's why even a simple click, a single share, a humble amen matters. Each one ripples into eternity. Gabriel's final words that morning felt like light folded into language. When the 8th dawn comes, the silence will lift. The world will not end, but it will be asked to choose, to remain asleep or to awaken fully. That is what the final light means. The awakening of conscience, the unveiling of truth. It's not the destruction of the world, it's the illumination of it. And you, by being here, are part of that illumination. Your listening is not passive, it's participation. Your attention is prayer. So now, before you scroll away, pause. Let your soul answer, like this message, as a gesture of light. Share it so others may feel what you feel now. Subscribe not for the channel, but for the mission, because the more hearts we awaken, the longer the light remains. The 7th dawn fades, the 8th is coming, and the world, trembling, beautiful, imperfect, waits for those who will keep the flame alive. You were not chosen by chance, you were found by light. Stay awake, stay ready. The next whisper of heaven is already on its way. The 8th dawn came without warning. It was neither bright nor dark. It was something in between, a light that looked alive, trembling like breath. For those who were awake, time slowed. For those who slept, dreams turned heavy, filled with scenes they could not understand. Something had changed. It was not the end of the world, but the beginning of its unveiling. Gabriel's presence filled the silence again. He was not seen, yet everything around seemed aware of him. The air, the earth, even the smallest flicker of light. He spoke softly, almost as if not to frighten. The 8th dawn marks the hour when hearts divide, not by belief, but by resonance. Those who have chosen light will feel peace even amid chaos. Those who resist will feel emptiness, even surrounded by beauty. And across the world the division began. Some woke with renewed tenderness, forgiving what once seemed unforgivable. They smiled through tears, sensing they were not alone. Their rooms glowed with quiet warmth, the kind that has no source but heaven. Others, however, woke restless, angry without reason, unable to find comfort in anything. They looked at the same sunrise, but saw only glare. Where light had entered, resistance had built walls. That was the separation of hearts. It had nothing to do with religion or borders. It was vibration, love recognizing itself or rejecting itself. Gabriel's voice carried through this invisible tide. The world is not being punished, it is being purified, and purification begins when what is hidden is revealed. Every heart will now see what it has been carrying. Then came a silence deeper than sound. People began to notice things, sudden chills, warmth in their palms, flashes of memory that felt like confessions. Some saw their past as if on a screen. Others felt the pain of those they had hurt. It was not judgment. It was mercy, mercy burning away illusion. The final light, Gabriel said, is the truth made visible. Do not flee from it. Let it cleanse you. For those who face their truth with humility will shine brighter than before. And the world trembled again, not in terror, but in revelation. News of strange lights appeared across continents. People reported hearing a single note in the air, a tone that made them weep without knowing why. In cities and villages, strangers helped one another instinctively. It was as if kindness had become contagious. That was Gabriel's doing. Heaven had poured compassion into the world to soften the unveiling. Yet not all hearts accepted it. Many clung to pride, to control, to disbelief. And those hearts grew colder by the hour, their light fading like dying embers. But even for them, Gabriel whispered, "There is still time if they listen. Tell them to listen. And that is why you are here." To hear, to carry, to remind. So if you're feeling something as you listen, a heaviness, a strange warmth, tears for no reason, that is the angel's touch. Do not dismiss it. Do not explain it away. It is heaven knocking gently. Open the door. Speak light back into the world, right below. I choose light. Let the angels see that you answered. Each word written in faith becomes a signal, a flare in the invisible battle. Gabriel's light moves through this message, through your fingertips, through your voice. That's why it's vital, truly vital, that you share this message. Someone you love might be standing at the edge of surrender, waiting for a sign, and your action, your click, your share, may become that sign. Do it not for this voice, but for heaven's. Let this message travel like fire through the cold. Gabriel's words continued. When truth enters the world, illusion cries out. You will see confusion rise, fear disguise itself as reason, and love mistaken for weakness. Do not join the noise, stand in stillness, for the still heart will hear the next call when others cannot. That is what this December is truly about, not destruction, but discernment. The Archangel is teaching the world to tell light from imitation. And as the eighth dawn faded, many began to feel a strange strength replacing their fear. They could not explain it, but hope felt physical, like something alive in their chest. Gabriel whispered again, the world will not end in darkness. It will be revealed by light. The greater the light, the clearer the truth, and the truth will free those who embrace it. Somewhere, a woman lit a candle for the first time in years. Somewhere else, a man deleted words of hate he had planned to send. And in thousands of hearts, forgiveness began like a sunrise behind closed eyes. That is how heaven heals, quietly, one soul at a time. And now, to those who are awake, Gabriel asks for a vow. Keep the flame alive after December. Speak light daily. Let no lie become your truth. So I ask you as his messenger, will you keep this fire alive? If yes, show it. Like this message, comment below, share it, subscribe. Each gesture is not routine, it's declaration. You are saying, I stand with the light. The separation of hearts has begun, but the story is not over. There is still one dawn left, the dawn of renewal, when heaven and earth breathe in rhythm again. That will be the next message. Stay awake, stay faithful. The light is moving, and it has found you. The ninth dawn rose like no other. It was soft yet sharp, a strange mixture of calm and awakening. For the first time in generations, humanity felt the same breath, a shared pulse beneath the noise of the world. It was as if the earth itself exhaled. The separation had ended, the renewal had begun. Gabriel's presence was everywhere and nowhere. He no longer appeared as light or voice. He was within everything that moved with compassion. He was the whisper in forgiveness, the warmth behind courage, the invisible hand lifting those who had fallen. This is the dawn of renewal, he said, not born from power, but from tenderness. And so, quietly, the world began to heal. People woke with new eyes. The same streets looked different, softer, wider, more alive. It wasn't the world that had changed, it was their vision. The light of renewal doesn't come from above, it rises from within. Gabriel spoke again, but now his words felt less like command and more like melody. The renewal is not the reward of the righteous, it is the mercy for the broken. That line wrapped around the world like a blanket. Those who had felt unworthy now felt chosen. Those who had lived in shame now understood they had been training in humility. The weakest became the strongest because they had learned how to kneel before light. If you're reading these words and something stirs inside you, that quiet mix of tears and peace, that is not emotion, that is recognition. It means you are part of this renewal. Heaven has noticed you, and Gabriel asks you to act. Yes, act. Not later, not tomorrow, now. Write something below. Anything that carries faith. I am part of the renewal. I choose light. I forgive. I am ready. Every word becomes a brick in heaven's new foundation. Every heart that responds helps build the unseen temple Gabriel spoke of, not of stone, but of living souls. He said, "The temple of the future will not be built by hands. It will be formed by hearts united in love." And so your comment, your share, your prayer, your simple yes, all of it matters. It's not about a screen, it's about resonance. The more hearts that respond, the faster the renewal spreads. Across the world, small wonders began to multiply. Children's laughter returned to places that had known only silence. Rivers that had dried began to flow again. Dreams carried meaning. Prayers found answers. The world was breathing differently. Not perfectly, but honestly. Still, Gabriel warned, "Do not mistake renewal for completion. This is only the beginning of restoration. The shadow will return not to destroy, but to test the strength of the light." The angel's voice was like a flame, soft but impossible to ignore. He explained that the renewal must be guarded like a fragile seedling in winter. Love must be watered daily. Faith must be spoken aloud. Hope must be shared again and again. And that is why this message matters. It is not entertainment, it is sustenance. Every time you replay it, every time you share it, you keep the light alive. Gabriel continued, "You have entered the season where words create worlds. Speak only what builds. Bless, even when it hurts. Forgive, even when it feels undeserved. For each act of grace writes the new law of heaven upon the earth." The renewal was not about new governments or inventions. It was about frequency, the tone of love vibrating through actions. And the Archangel was clear. This vibration had to reach the corners of despair before the year closed. So if you feel this, if you sense that you are part of something sacred, share this message right now. Let it travel through the darkness like a secret torch passed from hand to hand. You may never know who it saves, but heaven will. Gabriel's light grew fainter, not because he was leaving, but because he was spreading. He said, "I am not departing. I am multiplying through those who believe." And as his radiance dissolved into the morning, millions felt a single truth echo in their soul, that heaven was not far anymore. It had entered through their willingness to love again. The final light had arrived not as an explosion, but as an expansion, a breath of mercy moving through creation. And as that realization settled, the angel's final instruction resounded gently. Guard the renewal with gratitude. Thank the light each morning, and it will stay. So now, before you close this moment, before you return to noise, take one breath of gratitude. Whisper, "Thank you for finding me, because you have been found." And if you believe that this message came to you for a reason, it did. Like this message to seal your yes. Comment below to echo it. Share it to multiply it. Subscribe to remain part of the circle of light. For as Gabriel said, those who keep the light alive will never walk alone again. The dawn of renewal has begun. Now the world waits to see who will protect it,